Are we starting?
Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, here we go. I'm pretty excited.
5, 6, 7, 8. Side hustle. When you have a job, but you need another job, it's a side hustle.
That's Chelsea.
That's Sarah.
Are they famous?
No! Side hustle. But we have worked a lot.
Yeah, Broadway,
Las Vegas.
TV, film,
And so many jobs in between. It's a side hustle. Because the hustle is real.
Oh, yeah. You guys, welcome. We are so delighted that you're here. This is it.
Welcome.
Our premiere episode of The Side Hustle. That is Sarah Lowe.
Oh my God, that is Chelsea Phillips Reid. We are so pumped right now.
You guys, this is a comedy podcast about show business jobs.
Well, kind of.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, it's a podcast about the jobs that we have to work while we're trying to get the jobs we want.
Yeah, you know, showbiz jobs. Jazz hands. So many jazz hands. Yeah. You know, because the truth is, we all have done some kind of crazy stuff for money.
That's right. No matter who you are, no matter how you've worked at entertainment, you could be a Broadway star, you could be on the TV, in the movies.
That's
at some point, you've had some kind of weird ass survival job.
Yeah.
It usually involves like a costume.
Sure.
Or like a name tag, a child's birthday, and like a deep sense of personal shame.
Yeah.
Like an existential crisis.
Like a moment that you are doing it and you kind of step out of body and you're like, what have I done in my life that has gotten me to this point?
Are you there, God? My mom was
me.
right. I should have gone to law school.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like all of those things.
Yeah. And like, is it really worth $200? And
Maybe.
I mean, sometimes.
Yeah. So every single week, we're going to talk to your favorite writers,
Comedians,
actors,
directors,
dancers,
lap dancers,
all the things.
producers.
Yeah, about their favorite
rappers.
side hustles.
Yeah. And we are so excited that this is the launch. This is the official launch. So you're here.
Number one.
We're here. It's going to be a great show. We have so many exciting things.
Totally.
You look great, by the way.
Oh my God. Well, it's been a crazy week. You know, I honestly, I think like a lot of people, I just feel like this enormous weight has been like lifted off of me. Like I feel like smaller. Like I've lost like a Trump. Like a Trump off my body.
You look like a Trump pounds off your body.
Yeah, literally. And you look beautiful. There's like a light from within. Like you're glowing.
It's a glow. It's a new moisturizer I use that I've started called Fighting Fascism.
A little anti-fascism, just like there.
Right under the eyes. A little.
The trick is you gotta do it with your ring finger. It's like that's the trick.
It's more gentle. It's got empathy in it. You know,
I love it. I love it so much. You guys, we have such an incredible show for you. We have an incredible guest, and we're going to tell you all about her in just a sec. But first,
I wanted to step back so you could see my shoes, so that if you heard noise, you knew that I'm not wearing tap shoes. I'm wearing normal shoes, but they
you could tap at any second.
Thank you.
That's how it always is.
Ooh, those are some rolling shuffles.
Should we talk about like our favorite little side hustles?
Yeah, for sure. Because the thing is we Chelsea and I come from a background, as we showed you in our intro, and we've started this podcast because we decided to talk about some of the craziest side hustles that we've done. So why don't you start with one of your favorites?
Well, and like all of this started like way before the quarantine, way before the apocalypse of 2020. I was at Sarah's house and I was like, I'm going to tell you a story. It involves me dressed as Mary Poppins and Drake. Real Drake.
Yeah.
And she was like, tell me everything. So we both had this conversation about how like we've just had these wacky jobs. We've done weird things. And we both worked for a long time. We both started as kids in entertainment. We both have worked since we were little.
Just
and
babies, just little Chelsea, little Sarah's working, side hustling.
Mommy, what's the side hustle? I'll tell you, little girl. Yeah. So this is my favorite side hustle. This is the story that I told Sarah that literally like kind of launched the idea for this podcast.
Yeah. Wait.
What?
I'm stopping you. Here's what I'm stopping you, because I just had this moment of realizing that we forgot to say we're not in masks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, this is what our faces look like.
This is, a lot of people don't know this about us, but like this is our faces, right? Like some people think
I've got lips, I got a chin.
Some people think you don't have a chin.
Just wearing clothes right now feels weird because I've spent like
I was in sweats all day. Let's be real.
Yeah. Like wearing shoes, my feet, my face, nothing feels normal right now.
My feet will be swollen after this with this tiny
but
we
were
little
COVID tested and we have joined each other's quarantine.
We are
so that's why we're not masked. So don't add us. Don't freak out.
I asked her earlier what at is because I'm not as cool as the cool kids.
Yeah. You know, when people like send you angry messages and they're like, how dare you?
You didn't have them. I mean, we are 6 feet.
Yeah. And we're not going to kiss. Not now.
Not on camera. We're also here at the incredible Show Creator Studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
I mean, look at this. It's fancy.
I'm telling you, I wanted to pretend like this was just
Like
my
our house.
living room.
Like
It's just
this
a
is where we
sensible curtain.
I just have so many flat screens with cartoon versions of
I
ourselves.
I just have a surplus. So I thought maybe I'd use one as the backdrop, and then I just have
My favorite thing about our logo is our blush, because there's like round, because legitimately that is how I wear blush, like a toy soldier from like the Rockets Christmas Spectacular.
Yeah, I also tend to just like cut out a circle and and that's probably what I'll start looking like. I can't even believe I put real makeup on for today.
I've forgotten how. Like when I was drawing on eyebrows, I was like, do they meet in the middle? Do I do kitten whiskers?
No, and then you guys, Chelsea bought me wispies. Which are code for.
I bought her some special lashes. We're wearing a lash, you guys.
We're wearing a show lash, you guys. It's
It's
show
all for you, because this is the first episode. So let's talk about
Okay,
it.
let's talk about it. You first.
Side hustle.
Side hustles.
So this story, it was a dark and stormy night.
I'm
Actually,
ready.
it wasn't. It was
Okay.
the middle of the afternoon.
Mhm.
So I was working in a show on the Las Vegas Strip.
Was it Magic Mike?
No, it wasn't Magic Mike. It was
Okay.
another show. And
She's the
so
MC of
a
Magic
company hired me
Mhm.
for a child's birthday party.
Naturally.
And this child's father
Mhm.
owns a casino. So just keep that in mind, that it was at their
Is
house.
his name Steve Wynn?
No.
Okay.
It will not be revealed.
Oh.
So their house is like a palace, right? Their house is like a giant, like there's like a guard gate and like all this stuff. So I was hired to be
Just imagine.
Dorothy from
Oh.
Wizard of Oz at a 1-year-old's party. In case you aren't familiar with children,
Listen,
one
guys.
is like a baby.
I have
like
two.
You're like, you
One
can't
is
walk.
they don't talk. They're not.
No, they're just
if
like
they're walking,
loaves of
they're
bread.
little geniuses, and
Yeah.
they're usually not. Parents are. I am one of those parents. I'm not calling you dumb specifically, but I also was like, wouldn't it be great if we did like a circus theme? And then you end up spending way too much money.
Yeah. So I was hired to do this kid's birthday party, and they were like, don't worry, it's super easy. You don't have to do basically anything. You're just going to be like dressed as Dorothy, and then people are going to take pictures with you, and it's like easy peasy, 1, 2, 3, Z. And I was like, you know what? For $500, I've done a lot worse. Oh, so this is where it all starts to go downhill as I arrive at the party,
Mhm.
and the company I was working for got it wrong. And instead of
Here
a
we go.
Dorothy dress from Wizard of Oz, they brought me sexy Dorothy.
Okay.
So I'm at a
the
child's
1-year-old.
birthday
Okay.
wearing like a corset
Yep.
and like a tiny tutu,
Sure.
and they didn't bring me underwear.
What's that?
So I had like my underwear on, like my personals,
Mhm.
but like because it was such a short, like a tutu, like I should have had like a solid, like a full coverage.
Like a full. We call those lollies.
Oh, who calls them lollies? I call what?
We called, the collective we, me and 5 other people. I don't know. They were like, I think like cheerleaders call them lollies.
Oh, I call them spankies or briefs.
Who? Okay.
I don't know. Anyway,
Briefs is probably closer to it.
so I'm in my like Halloween Leg Avenue costume, surrounded by tiny children.
Who could see up it,
Oh,
really?
they were like under my skirt, like Mother Ginger from the Nutcracker. So like I'm at this party, and then I have to start like kind of like velociraptoring,
Okay.
around
Yeah.
the party, so no one could, because it was so
She's got her legs
short.
closed as she
And there
scoots
was
around.
just yeah. So then the woman I work for says, "Hey, Chelsea, get over here. Quick question:
Mhm.
Are you afraid of horses?" I'm
Well,
like, "Wait, what?" So
That's literally like, this is part of the things we've talked about. When at some point somebody says, "Are you afraid of something?" The answer should be yes, but we're like, maybe. Is there more money
I
in
was
the
like,
horse?
what kind of horses? Like friendly horses,
no.
tame horses. So they had
I was
this
going to make a
idea.
bad joke, but I won't. I won't do it.
They wanted me to arrive in a carriage, driving the carriage by myself.
Also, they just had that there.
This person is
It's just a carriage.
yeah, they got that casino money, honey.
no money,
And so I'm carrying a big bunch of yellow balloons. Yeah, like driving the carriage. Then I have to crawl down in my sexy Dorothy in my tutu.
Mhm.
And then they're like, "Can you just say something about like
Which is
being
more like a 1-1.
Hey.
I high five myself.
So then I get down and they're like, "Just say something about being happy to be here." So I was like, "I must be over the rainbow because
Nailed it.
I'm at," I forgot her name, birthday party. So then somehow the kid's mom, who's a former Miss Universe,
Just
and
more
she's from
clues.
like a
Go
foreign
research
land.
right now.
Yeah, like Narnia. So somehow she decided, because I'm Dorothy at her daughter's Wizard of Oz party, that I am like the cruise director of the party.
I can't wait to hear her Narnia accent.
So she kept being like, Dorothy, tell the children where they're going to go now. And I was like, what? So then I was like, so now I'm in charge. So I was like, okay, kids.
You're cruise director.
Follow me over here. And so then I would like grab all the children and like lead them with my butt out to like the next part of the party, which was like, here we're going to eat cupcakes. And then they had like a professional marionette man.
Oh, Mr. Marionette.
Yeah, in the racquetball court. That's the thing that they had at their house.
Sure.
So then they were like doing a marionette show, and he was
They had a carriage. That's probably where they store the carriage.
No, the carriage house.
They have a carriage house.
Yeah.
Oh, what a fool I am.
So that is my side hustle, is that I was forced to be a sexy Dorothy. Bum out for the children.
Suns out, bums out.
At the end of the event, the dad who owns the casino was like, hey, Dorothy, come here. And I'm like,
that doesn't end well.
So I like velociraptored over to him, and he like peels off 2 $100 bills and was like, great job today. And I was like, thank you so much.
And there's a part of me that's like, he's got it. So 200?
I mean, I led the children.
Another 5.
Yeah.
And that's a good one.
Yeah. So
What?
all
And
day
the mom
long,
what?
that mom was just like, Dorothy, the children are crying. And I'd be like, no, kids, don't cry.
Here's what's underneath my one.
But tell me, Sarah, like when you
that was a really good side hustle.
Oh, thanks. I mean, it haunts my dreams, my waking nightmare.
Yeah. Well, okay. For me, I would say one of the side hustles, my husband's name is Matt Donnelly, and he also has a podcast, and it's pretty successful. It's called Ice Cream Social. He also co-hosts Penn Jillette's Penn Sunday School podcast. You can hear me singing on it. What? I'm promoting myself. That was also a side hustle. Okay. So Matt and I were talking today about this weird side hustle we had to do. It's probably like 7 or 8 years ago. And 2 friends of ours from the Harvard sailing team, Billy and Adam, Billy Scafarian and Adam Lestick, they were writing for some, I think it was an ESPN sports thing.
Sports.
Yes, sports.
Yeah.
ESPN. That's what sports stands for.
Yep.
And they asked us to host this or be part of this prank bachelor party that was happening inside one of the rooms at Trump Tower. I've never been back. So
the fact that it was a prank bachelorette party.
It was a prank bachelor party for the Pouncey twins.
That sounds made up.
But then one of them didn't show up.
Oh.
No, it's real. They're real.
NFL players.
They're NFL players.
I know that now because you first told me Pouncey twins, and I was like, are they wrestlers? Because they pounce on you when you least expect it. Like, oh, no, not the Pouncey twins.
And they shake their little bottoms.
Get off my back.
And then they pounce.
Like cats.
Yeah. And they wear
Jungle
whiskers.
cats.
Yeah. Okay. So we had to go and it was a good enough paying job that I called out sick at work because I was
that's a good side hustle.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make some money. But we got there and it was so super awkward. And I was supposed to be this host, to be a high end host, to oh yeah, come on in. Here, would you like some high end champagne? We have quite a night set up for you. And so it started with
but how many people were there in the room with you?
Just it was and one of them didn't show up, so we ended up pranking his other friend. I don't know, I forget, but there was literally just the 2 of them in the room with random camera set up and me, who had been mic'd by a kind of creepy sound person. And then Matt, my husband, was supposed to be this mentalist magician, and all of the things were supposed to go wrong. That's what the prank was, right? So Matt comes in as this magician and is like, all right, I'm gonna get into your mind, which is weird because years later he now does that. He's the mind noodler. Anyway, it's another long story. But he took his shoe and sock off.
Oh.
And made the football player take his shoe and sock off and was like, all right, I'm going to read your mind by connecting feet. And he made them touch feet. Oh, yeah.
And interlock a toe?
He made them touch feet
handhold?
and then go in circles and was like, okay, draw what you're thinking. Draw what you're thinking. It's an activity. And so Matt starts drawing and the guy starts drawing. And I think the guy drew a race. They were close, but which is weird. But Matt drew himself doing an oil change in his driveway. And the guy was like, I drew a race car. And then Matt was like, I'll just stay. So that was also weird. And then this like woman comes in and she has just a normal suitcase.
Yeah.
Seems like a normal suitcase. And she opens it and there's just a pillowcase inside. And you're like, why is that pillowcase moving? Because there was a ginormous python.
No.
Yep. Inside. And she would be like, can you hold it to me?
And you had to hold the snake?
Well, I couldn't. It was huge because she wanted me to help her put it on her body.
She was like a snake dancer?
Yes, or a charmer or something.
Oh, God.
She was a charm dancer. She wore a charm bracelet of snakes.
And so then at what point were you like, and you got punked to those
I don't
football
even
players?
remember because
Did they know they were being punked?
I don't. Like they were trying to be nice to me and being like, we're good.
Like, just stop the show.
We're gonna go down and gamble. And I was like, but wait, there's more. and it was just oh, what a night it was.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that was just one of the many side hustles.
Oh geez.
Yeah. But speaking of side hustles, we've invited such a special guest.
You guys, so every week we're gonna have a special guest. And this week, like, blows it out of the water because not only is she an incredible comedian, she's a writer, producer, TV presenter.
Go on.
She's from the UK.
What?
I won't do the accent the whole time because I love it so much, but I will not. I will not.
Married a Brit.
I know, only for his accent.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's his accent and his sweet, sweet dance moves.
Personality.
Yeah, that too. Okay. This woman, she's a Renaissance woman.
Yeah, she truly does it all.
She does it all. We're so excited to have her. I actually had the pleasure of meeting her in my own house because she was a roommate with my mother because she needed to come out. So my sister-in-law is her manager and she needed to come out. Like she was getting ready to have all these big meetings with like none of the things we can tell you about because all those meetings actually, which never happens in Hollywood where you like have meetings and they come to fruition. Yeah. Hers are. So much so that like she can't say half the shit she's doing.
Right. Yeah. That's how you know you hit the big time when it's like you're just signing NDAs. I
can't talk about this or that. And now I'm doing the accent. But there's a lot of things she can't talk about. What she can talk about though is
she's one of the hosts of Netflix, the new Netflix show. Yeah. Netflix's After Party with David Spade, Fortune Filmster. Ladies and gentlemen, London Hughes. We're so excited.
Stop. That's probably the best. That's the best intro to a podcast that I've ever had. I have done a lot of podcasts, and that's the best intro. So well done.
Yay!
Social distance high five.
Oh my gosh.
That's
London. Holy smokes.
Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited. We like Sarah obviously already knew you. I did not. I like creepy Googled you. Like now I know things about you that I'm like, oh, London Hughes. Birthday. Watch like videos from like 12 years ago.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage. Yeah, there's no shortage of like if you haven't done so, go and like devour all of London's YouTube. Devour it. Because you know what? Pretty soon you got to pay that money to see her. Oh
yeah. So funny. We're so glad you're here with us. We can't wait to hear.
Thank you for me.
Yes.
So London, I got a little, we talked a little bit beforehand. Mm-hmm. And real quick, I want to shout out to Larry Latouf because he put that together. He put that intro. I mean, I produced it, I choreographed it, but I couldn't have done, I was like, can you hear some pictures and a song? So shout out.
Yeah.
So London, tell us about like, you've been an actress, comedian, presenter, host for a while, but you had to be doing something right before that, right?
Yeah, I've been doing this for 11 years. And before it, I was like working. I was a student studying. I thought that if I studied television at university, that would help me get on television. That doesn't work. It's not a thing. It's not.
Oh God!
Turns out that's not how it works, eh?
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. I could tell you who invented the auto cue, but not how to use one. It was very weird. But then, whilst I was studying television, I was working at good old TGI Fridays, and that was not bad. Hustle TGI Fridays.
I mean, who doesn't like a mozzarella stick,
a jalapeno popper?
Thank you.
I feel like
sauce. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I guess what's surprising me a little bit is that there is a TGI Fridays in the UK.
What? Are you serious? Do you really not know like, America is everywhere? Like, we have KFC, we have Burger King, we have TGI Fridays, like, we have Bubba Gump shrimp. You can get Bubba Gump shrimp.
Literally, that's like America's only contribution to the world is like, do you want to die early of cardiovascular disease? Well, have we got the restaurant for you?
yeah. Literally, you can get it. But I thought that like by working at TGI Fridays, I could show off my performer skills, and then I would serve someone, and they'd be like, "You're really talented. You should have your own TV show." That didn't work.
I'm shocked.
I know. But I did learn how to make balloon animals, so like that helped. I have never used that skill since, but I was really good at TGI Fridays. I was really good at my job, but I hated it as well. I hated being there. As all performers know, like you just don't want to be there. Like you just wish you could, be an actress on set or be on the stage, not be in the kitchen cleaning dishes or serving silly customers. So I tried my best to get out of work every single time. And I got really creative with my acting skills to help me get out of work.
Like, what would you do? You would just like make up scenarios and be like, I can't work today.
Work with me. Here's the thing. So I have asthma. And I've had asthma my whole life. And it's not big, it's not huge, it's not crazy. I've never been in hospital. It's mild enough to take the piss. So it's like mild enough that like I can just fake an asthma attack and people go crazy because they've never seen me with it, really. So all throughout school, I would fake asthma attacks to get out of PE and to get out of science because I hated those two lessons. But then I thought, when I was working in TGI Fridays, I thought, let me just try it again in a workspace. So I would fake asthma attacks. So I would lock myself in the storage cupboard and then have an asthma attack, a fake one, and be like, I've locked myself in and I don't have my inhaler. Oh my God. And I would do that so much so that my boss made sure there was always an inhaler on site for me. Because I was always like, I don't have my inhaler. I have to go home and get it. And then by the time I got home, there's no point coming back. So in the end, he made sure I always had an inhaler. But there was one time where I faked it and I used my acting skills to get out of work. And it was so bad. It was, and to this point where I feel like we're telling you the story because my family don't even know that this whole thing is.
Oh my God, breaking. We're breaking this.
Break it. Like, hopefully my dad, look, I'm in LA right now. My dad's in London. He's not listening to this. So, but it's,
and we'll just let him know that it's not available after this. I'm just kidding. It's completely available. This is,
this is the thing. I feel like, when you have a thing, a secret, and like you just go, I'm old now. I can tell the truth. I can just be honest. And my dad brought it up recently and I was like, oh my God, he doesn't know that was a whole lie to this day. And now I can't tell him the truth, but I'll tell you what happened.
I hear you.
Okay. I'm 31 right now. I'm setting the scene. I was 18 at the time. So do the maths because I'm terrible at maths. That's how long ago it was, right? And I was working at TGI Fridays and I tried the asthma trick and I'd done that too many times now. So I weren't getting out of work for my asthma. So I needed to up the levels. And TGI Friday shifts, we start at like 4 and finish at like 1 in the morning. And it's a long shift. And I was getting $5 something an hour. I didn't want to be there. And it was like, and it got to like 7 p.m. And I was like, I need to leave. I don't need to be here. I need to go. I need to leave. So I found the prime moment to act out how I was going to get out of work. So when anyone drops anything in TGI Fridays, everybody cheers just to make them feel better. If you drop plates or you smash anything, everyone cheers. So a friend of mine smashed the plate. Right. A friend of mine smashed the plate and everyone cheered. And as she did it, it gave me an idea of how I was going to get out of work. So this is what I did. I waited about an hour and then I dropped a big tray of glasses. There must have been about 7 or 8 glasses on there and they all smashed and everyone looked at me and everyone cheered. And as they were cheering, I went, ow, 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 ow. I think I've got glass in my eye. And they were like, what? And I was like, I think I've got glass in my eye. And then like my boss was like, okay. Take her to the office and let's get the glass out. So my boss is like in his office with me and he's like, open your eye. And I'm like, I can't. At this time, there's no glass in my eye. I am acting. There's not one shred of glass anywhere near my eye. I wanted to go. Home. I'm going, ow, my eye, in my eye. And he's like, let me see, open your eye. And I'm like, I can't. He's like, I'll get some water. So he gets water and he like dabs my eye and puts water on my eye. And I'm like, ow, oh God. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I should go home. He's like, no, we're going to call an ambulance. Now, here's the thing. Healthcare is free in the United Kingdom. So like we can call ambulances and they come.
What?
Part of the service. You call 999. Yeah, you call them and they come for free, right? So this is what I did. So
my mind is blown already.
Yeah. So he called 999. The ambulance came. Like a fully fledged ambulance. They put me in the back of the ambulance. I have nothing wrong with my eye. I'm doing this the whole time. Like, oh my God, I'm crying.
At least you didn't like switch it. You're like,
Right, I'm crying. I'm committing to the bit. I'm crying. As the ambulance here, I feel like they're just going to do something and then leave. But then they put me in the ambulance and say, we're going to have to go to the hospital for checks. And because I'm only 18, my boss felt bad. I was like, I'm going to call your father and let him know about what's happened here. So my boss then calls my dad. Now, my dad lives about 70 miles away from where my university was and where the hospital I was being taken to is. And my dad, at about 9 p.m. at night, flew down the highway to the hospital. I'm in the back of the ambulance. My dad meets me at the hospital. My dad is literally like, oh my God, my daughter might lose an eye. And I'm literally just like, oh my God. I just want to go. And at this point, my dad is a strong man. He's like, the way I describe him, he's like, have you seen the movie Babe? You know the farmer from Babe? Where he's like,
yes, I love him.
That is my dad. He even calls me Pig. He'll say, that will do, Pig, when I do well. He's a very strong, stoic, lovely man. I've never seen him fall flat. I've never seen him freak out. And the look in his face when he thought his daughter had nearly lost an eye, I was like, I can't tell this man the truth.
No. He must never know. We will never send him the link to this podcast.
It gets worse. We get to the hospital and obviously there's nothing wrong with my eyes. So I'm thinking I'm going to get found out. So I get to the hospital. And the doctor texts me over. My dad's not in the room. It's just me and the doctor. And he basically is like, there's just by some miracle, like it doesn't seem like any glasses in your eye, but it may have scratched your cornea. And we don't have the apparatus at this hospital to check. So we're going to have to take you to another.
It just keeps getting better.
No. Oh gosh, the story's making me sweat from my body.
I'm literally
like,
sweating.
Oh no, Dad is there and he's the farmer for Babe.
I'm like, me and my dad get in the ambulance together with the other paramedics, and then we take the ambulance to another hospital, which is like about an hour drive away. And then we get to the other hospital, but there's a huge wait at this hospital. So I'm sitting in accident emergency for like 3 or 4 hours. It's now 1 a.m. My shift is done.
End of the shift. You could have clocked out. You just needed... Also, like the balls it takes to drop a tray of glass. Like I'd think about it, but I would never have the balls. Like that is some commitment.
Right?
Good.
And I committed to it. It's 1 a.m. We finally get seen by the doctor, and he's like, does this whole machine, like proper, like scary ass machine for someone who's either fine, like literally, like you know when you lie down and it's like a scanny thing, and you just go like proper expensive ass eye treatment I had on my eye. That's fine. And then the results came. We had to wait for the results. The results came in. The doctor was like, miraculously, there is nothing wrong with your eye. You've had such a lucky escape, London Hughes. Oh, you should be so grateful. And my dad's like, thank God. Oh gosh. Oh,
Dad!
Hugging me so tight, and I'm just.
Oh
no!
snap!
This is the best.
This is like beyond what I expected. When you were like, "Oh yeah." Wait. Okay. So, did you go back to work there?
The next day?
Yeah. So basically, I came home and then I had to start my shift the next day. The doctor,
Oh
my
my
dad told
God.
me I was fine, and he was like, "Okay, well, she can come in the next day." And the next day, I went back to work. Like, I didn't even get time off.
And you're like, I'm gonna have to up my game.
Oh man.
Like, so me and my dad were having a conversation, I want to say like 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about accident prone because my family are quite accident prone. My brother's had loads of accidents, and I was like, I'm not accident prone because I've never had any accident. He was like, remember the
No,
time
you
when
just
the
caused
glass
the accidents.
flew in your eye? And I was like, oh my God, that didn't actually happen. Oh my God. What am I supposed to
I feel like that could be your moment. That could have been your moment to be like, well, but remember, like they didn't find anything, so just something must have scratched it, but it never stayed.
It's a miracle. London Hughes, the miracle of the eye.
The mirror, her eye is a miracle.
God.
Like your body is a wonderland, her eye is a miracle.
It's been too long. I can't. This feels like therapy. No one has, I've never admitted.
That's what we wanted this podcast to be like. This
That's
is
really
like
why we brought you
therapeutic.
here.
Let's
Okay,
talk
Dad.
about our feelings.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Your dad's
Oh God.
He just comes out from behind the screen. I knew it.
I know.
So how did you finally leave this TGI Fridays? You were like, that's it.
You just kept bringing glasses.
I got the sack for turning up late. I should have just been late. In the end.
I love that you never actually quit. That you were just like, I'm going to keep coming.
I'm going to fake ass my tax. I'm going to throw trays down.
Balloon animals.
No, I was just late. There was a new boss from America who had started, and he was very much out with the old, with the new. And I was late one time. I was fired on the spot. But it was a good thing because the day I got fired was a Sunday, and my friend had invited me to a comedy show that I'd never heard of that Sunday. And I couldn't go because I was working. So when I got fired, I was like, oh, I'll just go to that with my friend, celebrate the fact that I got fired. And I went to this comedy show, and it inspired me to do comedy. And the next week, I did the open mic night. And the week after that, they offered me a job there, hosting. So I literally went from like, yeah. So if they hadn't have fired me from TGI Fridays, I would never have gone to the Sunday show, which is a comedy show in London. I would never have been inspired by the comics, never have wanted to perform on that stage or do the open mic night, never have done well, never have got the job, and never have been a comedian. So thank you, TGI Fridays, for doing that.
I mean, I feel like we need to write them a letter.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, maybe thank you, America.
No, that's
No.
America.
that was crazy.
I wouldn't be in Los Angeles right now if it wasn't for that American boss that fired me from TGI Fridays for being
You'll
late.
be my
I love
American
that.
boss. You're fired. Oh my God. I think I also love that you like just hated it so much that you just kept like aggressively trying to get fired, and then immediately got like also the idea that you got fired and then within a week we're hosting a comedy show. That's pretty crazy.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
It's
pretty
very-
wild.
This lets me know that like it's what I'm supposed to be doing, because I tried every which way to go on TV outside of it. Like I never thought I would be a comedian because I thought all comedians were like white men, and I'm like the opposite. So I was like, I'm not gonna
Typical.
Do you know what I mean? It just
Wait,
didn't-
you're the opposite of a white man?
yeah, no, I'm opposite, complete opposite end of the spectrum. So I was like, I don't think I can do comedy, but I'll try every other which way to be on TV. And that had all failed. And the one thing I didn't try was stand-up comedy because I just did it for fun. I didn't think it would lead anywhere. And it was so easy for me to do. And it is the one that's paid off the most. And 11 years later, I'm sitting here, award-winning stand-up comedian, doing her thing. So
Right?
Starring, or you've got your new Netflix show coming out, and then like a plethora of things we can't talk about happening, right?
I really wish we could talk about it, but if you want
London.
I'll announce one of the things on Monday. Very exciting.
Ooh, very
So
exciting.
right now, follow London on
Yeah.
Insta.
Speaking of, we have a little chat. Would you be cool if we opened up some questions to the chat?
Yeah.
So if I know some of you are
we
in
have
this chat, it's
the
happening. There's like a little couple seconds delay. So go ahead and in the YouTube, you can ask a question for London, but I'm going to ask you a quick question. Because I forget what the show was called, but one of the first things we watched when you came, because my mom was flipping out about it, was the you did Roxy, right?
Yeah, right. Yes. So there's a show in the UK called All Star Musicals, which is basically like offshore dancing. It's like Dancing with the Stars, but instead of dancing like different numbers, celebrities have to do musical numbers and perform them properly, and we get to perform it at the Apollo Theatre, which is a prestigious theatre for musicals in the West End. So I did Roxy from Chicago, and it was amazing. I literally
I love it.
And I've never done theatre before. This is my first time singing and dancing on stage, and it was crazy.
No, you killed it. It's gorgeous. That's the other thing. Go look at that. It's one of my favorite. I mean, obviously, I'm a musical theater nerd, so I was like obsessed with it. But it's really good.
And London, you have to know, because we all know and love Sarah's mom so much, that Gwen was like, I am so proud of London. Oh, she killed it. She was so good. And we were like, yeah.
Sarah's mom Gwen is like, if it wasn't for Gwen, I wouldn't even be in Los Angeles, because she let me live with her for 3 months, and it was my life was so crazy. I was meeting my heroes and having meetings with comedy legends, and then going back home to Burbank to have cocktails and watch Jeopardy with Sarah's mom. Like, that was my life. It would be like, wake up. You've got a meeting at Universal. Here's the head of Universal, what he wants you to be in his next movie. They're giving you free merch. You've got a meeting with Judd Apatow. He's giving you free merch. You've got a meeting with Kevin Hart. He wants to take you for dinner. After that, go home and sit down with a 70-year-old woman who's made you mint juleps, and you're going to watch Jeopardy, and you're going to remember. Yeah. And it will humble you. So my life, the juxtaposition between my life outside of Gwen's house and inside of Gwen's house was insane. And I love her. And literally, I miss juleps. I miss juleps. That sounds weird.
We'll all get together and do mint julep. I have to tell you this story, Lauren, because you'll love it. And then we'll go to a quick question. My mom was showing me a picture today, because my mom now, she retired from performing for years and then has been back at it. And so she had to do a self-tape. And she said, so they asked for like, a full body. And then from the side, she's like, and they asked for a 3/4, but I'm going to stand up and do it. So you have to go to the wide, Travis. They asked for a 3/4, and she wasn't sure what it was. So she thought it was this.
Oh, bless!
Where she turns her body 3/4 like a little dancer. And I was like,
she's the best.
I was like, oh, Gwen. Oh, sweet Gwen.
I would do 3/4 though. I would. I love it.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
I mean, it feels good. Okay, do we have a question?
I've got a question. So, London, this is from the chat on YouTube. They want to know, what was your dream before comedy came into your life? Like, you talked before, like you wanted to be on TV, right? That was your dream, like to be famous?
Yeah. My dream was to be on American television. That was the dream. I was a little black girl from South London, and the first black woman I saw on TV was Aunt Viv in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I didn't think black women existed on television outside of America. I thought they only existed on TV in America, because we didn't have them in Britain. We only had 4 TV shows in the 90s, and none of them included black people. So for me, this was the actual plan. The dream was to get Will Smith to notice me, and that he would put me in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I used to write Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan fiction. I used to write myself into episodes of The Fresh Prince. And I love it. And when I was really young, I genuinely used to think that the titles at the end of the show would flash so quickly because it had the actor dresses on it, and that's why I would go quick. So I would sit there by the TV, quick, ready to write down more and I'd be like, "We live in Buena Vista, Buena Vista," and I thought that if I wrote to him, he would then discover me. He would put me on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So that was
the perfect plan.
That was
I love that.
Age 6 to like 13, 14. That was the plan. That was the goal, and that didn't happen. So, but I'm here I'm in America anyway, so I got here eventually.
And you know what? Like, there's so many things happening. You might just like end up producing the reboot or something.
And I was gonna say, like, I know all these incredible things are happening, and like literally, you're working with so many legendary people. But like, my hope for you, London, is that one day that you and Will Smith are doing something together, so you can tell him this, because it makes me so happy.
I would watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and be like, you know, when girls watch other girls and be like, I want to be Britney Spears, or I wanted to be Will Smith. Like, I wanted to just be London in Bel-Air and have my own TV show with my cousins in my house. I wanted that whole show to be based around me. And when I wrote,
I love it.
We're so close to it, though.
In
I feel
South
like
London,
it's
born and raised. On the playground is where I should most of her.
Right, that's
It
what
can
I
happen.
And when I wrote
okay, this.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, say it.
I was going to say, when I used to write, because fan fiction is a thing back now, they've got a name for it. But in my day, we didn't have a name for it. That was just Thursday. So on Thursdays, I would write myself into episodes of The Fresh Prince. And one of my characters was Ashley. Ashley is Will's cousin. I was Ashley, a English tutor. And me and Will had an on and off again romance. But we had to nip it in the bud because Ashley's education comes first. And that was like my first storyline.
That's what I love about those older sitcoms too, is that like that strong moral at the end that usually has some kind of like saxophone or some kind of guitar that just is like, because what's more important is the education. Well, that's McDonald's, but you know what I mean.
That was
okay, wait. This one is, okay, who is Big Sexy? That is his name on here. I know who Big Sexy is. Question, if you had to go back into the workforce, where would you apply?
Into the workforce? Who would have me? My CV literally reads...
TJ Fridays.
I worked in TJ Fridays.
Prince of Bel-Air.
What could I do? I don't even know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'd be good at stuff, but whether they would have me is like a whole different thing. Like, I could be a publicist. I like all that. I really like Samantha Jones's lifestyle in Sex and the City. So I think I want.
That's not real life. But
I write a lot of Samantha Jones fan fiction.
I want Samantha Jones. I want to do that. That's what Samantha Jones did. I want that. That's what I would do.
Which actually does bring me a little bit to like, you have a lot of comedy. You've done a lot of comedy, and you had a huge hit in the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh. And my mom isn't allowed to see it.
No, nowhere near. Neither's my mom. None of our mums. So basically, last year. So I love how Americans say Edinburgh. It's called Edinburgh. So there's a place called Edinburgh.
Sorry, Edinburgh. I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
Edinburgh, mate. So there's a place called Edinburgh in Scotland, and every year they have the biggest arts festival in the world. If you're a performer and you want to be seen, get your ass to Edinburgh. It will cost you, but it can honestly change your life. And basically, for the whole month, they shut down the whole town of Edinburgh, and every shop, every restaurant, every pavement becomes theatre space and performance space, and everything shuts down, and it turns into a town of it's horrible because everywhere you go there's performers, but it literally turns into a whole town, like Footloose, but the opposite, where everyone is performing and dancing and singing on the street.
I love that.
That's my dream. It's literally my dream.
Sounds amazing.
And they have a huge comedy festival there, and there's like 6,000 shows. Then at the end of the month, all the shows get reviewed. Like, you get reviewers in every day, and they're proper like big, The Guardian, The Times. And then at the end, they choose like 8 shows to be nominated for best show. And like in British history, that's prestigious, because people that have been nominated are like Monty Python. People like British comedy history get nominated. And last year, I became the first Black woman in history to be nominated for the Edinburgh Comedy Award. So it was a big deal. And the show,
I want to clap loudly, but it's going to be weird on the microphone. So this is sign language applause. This is like mega massive, and
amazing.
That like, you were already kind of doing great, but that is what has really like.
So the show was called To Catch the Dick, which is why Sarah's mum and my mum
dick.
It, because it's called To Catch
the Dick. They're not allowed to see that.
Yeah, it's sexy. It's filthy, and I deep throat a microphone.
Yeah, baby.
It's art.
It's art. Oh my God.
It's so true. Can you tell us a little bit? This is a question from the chat, but can you tell us a little bit about Netflix's After Party?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
interesting.
So basically, I don't know what, because we don't have this show in the UK, but there's a show called Watch What Happens Live with Bravo's Andy. I don't know his last name.
Cohen.
Andy Cohen, right? So imagine that, but better. like 100 times better. So it's on that theme. I would say structurally, it's that kind of theme. It's like, imagine all your favorite Netflix shows. Then afterwards, you've got a place to talk about it, meet the stars, sketches, games, have a good time. And I love that. I'm the type of girl that will watch a Netflix series, go on Twitter, check out the hashtag, and be like, what did everyone else think? And now we have this weekly show where you can just watch it and see the stars and meet the people from the show and see what they think and have fun with us where we talk about what we think. And it's just, it's so exciting. And I'm truly chuffed to be working with David Spade and Fortune Feemstar because they are bad artists. They are, again, like the opposite of me. I've got like David Spade, who's just like a white guy and who's like quite sarcastic.
He's who you thought comedy was. He was a white male.
He's the epitome of comedy, and then there's me.
Yeah,
and him are like the opposite, but we come together. And also exclusive. I literally, while you lot were talking, I had a delivery of flowers from David Spade. These are David Spade's flowers that he delivered to me. So yeah.
You heard it here first,
you guys.
White comedian David
just
Spade.
Makes me so happy though.
Did you say chuffed?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Can I hear it, Chelsea?
Absolutely chuffed.
Let me hear your British accent.
Oh God. Okay, so you know my husband's British.
Yeah.
So and I tell everyone the story. So we met at a bar because he came over and was like, "Hello, my name is Steve," and I was like, "Did you go to Hogwarts with Harry Potter?" And he goes, "Oh, you're a bit of an ass, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." Yes, I am. And now I'm falling in love with you because I love being made fun of. It's my favorite thing. Yeah. So I feel like I could only do an English accent if I'm like being a pirate.
Okay, go on.
Like I could be like,
do we need to get you an eye patch?
But no, I can like be, but I got it. Do you know where the toilets are?
Oh,
gosh, right? Yeah.
All right. All right. You ready for mine?
Go on, Sarah.
Do you know where the toilets are? Oh, that was good.
That was
Thank
spot
you.
on.
Thank you.
That was spot on. I love it.
We have to wrap it up.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't want to because I would sit here and talk literally for hours, London.
Yeah. You are a dream, London. We're so excited and happy for you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear I can't wait till Monday to hear about your bigger news.
Monday.
And then
Monday.
Yeah. So everybody, if you're not already doing it, make sure you're following London on all the socials, on Insta. You want to hear this news.
It's going to be big.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, London. We love you.
London. Thank you so much.
We're so chuffed to be here.
Enjoy.
Okay.
You guys. She's a dream come true.
She
and
really
it makes
is.
me so happy. Like what she was talking about how growing up, she never saw women that look like her on TV. And that's why I'm so excited that we are like alive during this time, that representation matters. It matters who you see on TV, who you listen to, that you see yourself in these people. And it makes me so happy that now little girls are growing up and seeing people like London Hughes on TV and saying, oh my God, she's just like me. And now I get to be her.
Yeah. And not afraid. What I also love about London is that, you know, she knew what she wanted and she kept chasing her dream and she didn't let things knock her down.
Yeah.
So like, except that she knocked glassware down. But I also love that she is, she's just inspired. Like she kept being like, okay, if it's not, if not this, then what? If that, you know, and she just kind of kept finding her way. And she has a series that she's written. You know, I know she's pitched her own show as well as other shows and movies.
And she also has a hilarious series on YouTube called No Filter. That's so good.
Yeah. That she created.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring. Yeah. I'm really excited she was here.
You guys, we are so happy that you tuned in today. We're going to have so many new episodes every single week. We have so many exciting guests coming up. If you're not doing it already, please follow us on social, where our Insta is at Side Hustle Pod. We got hilarious vids. We've got all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
and if you have a side hustle,
yes, email us.
Email us at thesidehustlepod@gmail.com. So email us.
We want to thank you all for coming. We also want to thank Show Creator Studio here in Las Vegas. We want to thank Travis and Amanda and Ian for having us. We want to give a huge thank you to Dynasty Typewriter.
You guys are the best.
And Sammy, our engineer, and just all of our friends there. Thank you all so much. We're hoping to do this once a month, but our podcast will come out weekly. You can look for this tomorrow.
On Apple, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's so silly to say that, but it really matters.
It matters.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I was going to say. I don't remember what it was.
I don't know either.
It'll come and go. Oh, you can also just go right to our website, which is thesidehustlepodcast.
No, sorry.
It's
thesidehustle.live.
I'm a liar.
Sorry.
And a thief,
Sarah,
and I just
please
stole
don't
all
ever
of your
lie to
underwear.
us.
I just stole your underwear.
It's a podcast of lives.
It's a podcast of
You
lives.
guys, we can't say thank you enough for joining us. Have a wonderful night and keep hustling.